So, ma'am reached out to me prior to this to bring up a particular topic. And so, ma'am, if you would like to say your piece.
Um, at this level, it's personal, guys, because I was on the front line sharing this information. So I take full responsibility, and that's the reason why you guys have seen me in the past three Recoupers lives sharing information, but I haven't been as specific as I am going to be today. The reason why I'm going to be very specific is because this was shared. I shared this information back in September, okay, to try to bring the person of interest, bring this information to her attention. And the importance that it was required, it wasn't given. And I waited, went back and forth. I was left waiting. I waited one time for hours when an arrange was already made that we were going to discuss the subject. 4 hours later, I was, the disrespect was unreal. So I kind of decided to put things aside and keep on doing my part at my end, correcting the record. And my close circle of peers who we have been working very diligently to make sure that we get all the facts, to do proper findings, so we can, when we get the proof of concept, bring it to the family. I call everybody family, but bring it to you guys so you guys can correct the record and finally get your refunds, because your refunds are your refunds. If you have proofs, if you can prove that those credits are yours, they'll come your way. But let me circle back. So I have brothers and sisters here who are part of that group, and I'm going to address the importance of why I'm here. Another sister it has been brought to her attention that her filing has been labeled as frivolous filing. So that being said, it gave me the urgency, okay? It gave me the urgency to kind of reach back to the persons who were filing the CP 575s at the time, and let me make a very important clarification. I'm not here to point fingers. There is no guilty. There is no responsible party. We are all responsible because we took upon this journey, some of us not knowing to the extent what was required for us to acquire those credits. And I'm going to use a phrase that was used that kind of hit me. And we were being fed steaks when we were babies, okay? And we choke on it. So you do with that information as you please, whether you want to say, well, you to the party who was sharing this information, well, you should have known better not to take this information out to the masses without having proof of concept. But in all honesty, that is beyond the point at this point in time. See, I'm not here to debate. I'm not here to argue. It was never my intention for this to escalate the way it has escalated, because I thought that as the way I go about it is that if you come to me and you bring constructive criticism so I can make corrections so things can keep it moving forward properly, I will make the corrections. So as an adult, I expect that from other individuals, mostly when we are dealing with such of important processes, guys. So anyways, at this point, again, I'm going to say I'm not here to debate. I'm not here to argue. If you are in this live right now, try to debate with me, refrain yourself, because this has nothing to do just with one individual. This has everything to do with each and every one who came here seeking for the knowledge to get their credits that belong to you, that the information that it was given to us wasn't or did not have proof of concept. That is a whole different subject, guys, that we're not even going to talk about what we could have done, what we should have done. That is in the past. Right now, at this very moment, we need to correct the record for everyone. For everyone. And the people who is holding the power to correct the record is holding the power in an egocentristic way. Why? Because at this point, there is no whole harm letter that is going to protect you. The harm has been done right now by you forcing people that if you don't sign a whole harm letter, I'm not going to do anything. That makes you look so bad, respectfully, because see, the harm it's already been done. Right now, I came with the solution on how you can correct the record so you don't look like, for your own sake and everyone's sake. Nobody needs to sign no whole harm letter for them to zero out the filings that were done wrongfully. It's that simple. At this point, I told the person who I had a Google Meet about 3-4 days ago that it was very disturbing, by the way. I told her I will make it my priority that I let people know that they do not need to sign any whole harm letter for you to correct the record, because that letter should have been issued at the beginning when you were going from group to group creating all these massive filings. Right now, in all God honest truth, I don't come here to cause any harm to anybody. I just want to make sure that people is not, I just want to make sure that people get their refunds, that they are removed from the place that they have been put in the IRS portal. And the only way that you can do that is by zeroing out anything and everything that you filed that you know that you have no standings claiming. If you cannot prove where those credits came from, you have no right to claim them. Okay, it's that simple. I'm going to take a moment because I really need to take a minute to adjust myself, because this is very disturbing when you find resistance, guys. When you bring an issue of this magnitude to people who hold power and their ego gets in their way to correct the record, it's sad, guys. It's so sad, because the same energy that they were using when they were creating these filings without them having proof of concept, that's the same energy is needed to correct the record so people can move forward with the process and get their refunds. It's that simple. There is no harm on doing that. There is no harm, guys. I feel responsible because I was on the TikTok lives. So it's my responsibility because of my background, because of my legacy, because of what I represent. It's my responsibility to correct the record and do whatever I need to do to make sure those who were doing this don't feel attacked. And sometimes, because I am very forward on how I speak, people think that I'm debating. No, I'm very practical. I'm very practical, and I'm not going to sugarcoat anything to make you feel good. There is nothing feeling good about what is happening right now. Okay? Mostly when I know that there is people that I appreciate, that I embrace as family, that is going through hardships because of these processes. And there is a solution. And I brought the solution back in September, guys. And I have been very patient. I haven't even mentioned names or point individuals, specific individuals. When I first came in November 8th, go back and listen. Then when I came back the following live from Recoupers, I was a little bit more openly speaking about the situation. But nothing is being done. And now when I've been told that everybody has to sign a whole harmless letter in order for them to cancel, it's like it's a power trip that needs to be removed. And people needs to be they need to that bubble needs to be burst, and they need to come back to reality. And if they don't think that they have harmed people, yes, you have harmed a lot of people. You have harmed a lot of people, and you need to correct the record. I'm not coming to I'm not coming here to debate, to attack, to create anything. No. What is done is done. Do the right thing and correct the record so these people can get the refunds and they can be in good standings with the IRS. I have the conversations that it will blow your mind how these people think. Tell me why. If I did something and the IRS system is telling me that things are required for me to be in good standings, tell me why I'm going to refuse to do them, knowing that I have done filings for hundreds of people. Why am I going to turn my face the other way, walk out when I know that that's going to create animosities and put me in the situation that is unpleasant with the IRS, and at the same place it's going to also affect the people that I created those filings. And I'm trying to be very cautious on how I'm sharing this, because I'm not trying to point fingers at a specific people. But let me tell you, the ignorance and the heartlessness that I have received by addressing this issue is beyond my comprehension. Beyond my comprehension. So I'm here, and that's the reason why I asked Stephen to share this live in the Golden State. It's because I am an admin in the Golden State. I removed everybody from the lion's den respectfully. It wasn't nothing personal, but I knew that what was going on, it was beyond my comprehension, and it was out of my control because they were already in the group creating on all these filings. So I'm gonna stop right now, and I want to invite Elaine. I want her to share her experience so you guys know that this is not me coming after anybody. No. In God's names, I'm telling you, all of this comes from a place of love, from a place of understanding and comprehension, understanding that the record needs to be corrected, that ego shouldn't get in the way for those who are holding the power to correct the record. I want the Lord to touch their heart, to humble their soul, to work with us so we can move forward without any drama. There is too much going on right now in the public. We decided to move in the private sector, and it's so sad. It's very sad. It's very sad for us to find these situations here. Um, I just don't know how. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm just getting a message right now. Give me 1 second. Okay. Um, I just want to make sure, guys, that when all of this is said and done, that we all come in a mutual agreement, that I find the support from the group here in Recoupers. I don't want nobody to go after anybody because, like I said in the beginning, there is no responsible party. We were all doing this. You know, we are responsible because we shouldn't have trust those without showing us proof of concepts. You know, um, telling people, well, you should have done more education. You should have done your own research. Yes, yes, but we're not going to discuss none of that because that is the past. We cannot fix what it's already done, but we have the solution to correct it without without creating an energy that is unnecessary. I'm not your enemy. Just because I called you out and I told you what you were doing wrong and that you needed to correct the record, that doesn't make me your enemy. In the contrary, think how much I appreciate you that I'm bringing you the solution so you can clean your name and those who are still doing and supporting you can clean their name as well. Um, I want to know if Elaine is here. Elaine, are you here?
I'm not seeing her in the chat.
Okay.
Oh, there she is. Was it Elena?
Yes.
May I ask a question in the meantime?
Okay.
Sure.
Um, I remember last week you mentioned that all those who file CP 575 need to go and get it zeroed out. I was wondering why that is, one. And two, I mean, I haven't filed anything, but, and two, where can we find, honest, proper guidance on doing these filings? Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Before I answer your questions, I want to say this. For the previous recoupers, I have had a lot of people reaching out to me on my DMs. I want everybody to know that you're not being ignored. I have created a folder where I have been putting everybody who had reached out to me. At the moment, I'm not in a place where I can elaborate or interact. It will be crazy for me. It will take not only time but my energy and my emotional distress, because understand that I have been working with the community for 16 years. Okay, not in this spectrum, but foreclosure and homelessness. So when we get a proof of concept and how we're going about it in this process, it's gonna be shared with whomever is interested. Okay, um, that's all I can say in that area. Now, if you haven't filed the CP 575, um, you need to have an understanding of how credits work. See, we were told, which is true. Don't get me wrong. Understand this. I'm not debating their knowledge. It's that we don't have the standings to claim those credits the way we were told. Okay? You have to prove where those credits came from. And if not, go and ask anybody in Recoupers who has received a response from the IRS that they want their W-2s or proof where those the credits are coming from, that the ones that are claiming on their filing. It's that simple. I hope that answered your question. And what was the other one? Oh, you want to have a clear understanding. Right now, I'm not going to go into details. We can go over because the time is limited here on the on Recoupers. It's limited to 2 hours, and I want to stay in the subject of correcting the record and making sure that we all come together, uh, understanding that we don't need to sign a whole harmless letter in order for those who created the CP 575s and the A's on their TCC portals, in order for them to zero out that. Because see, if they needed whole harmless letter, that should have been issued at the beginning. People, and this is what it was mind blowing to me, because um because you already caused the harm. You are correcting the record, zeroing out the filing. It's a little bit too late for you to say that you want a whole harmless letter. So why don't you just correct the record by you zeroing out the filings and generating a standard letter that you can issue to everyone, saying that an error was created, it was a mistake, however you want to word it, and do not go to ChatGPT and just give that ChatGPT letter. Be creative and create a letter that comes from your heart, because we are living men and women. We are not corporations. So let's let that sink in for a second, guys. You guys have no idea what I have been dealing in, and I'm just so grateful that Stephen it's allowing me to come here and in a way where I feel safe and I'm not being attacked or threatened because of what I'm doing. Okay, Elaine is here. So I'm gonna let her share her experience with the IRS. And hold your questions for later, guys. Give her space and time and energy to voice her experience. Thank you, Elaine.
Elaine, you need to unmute yourself to speak.
She is trying. For some reason, it's not going through.
Yeah, I could see you removed the mute, but I couldn't hear anything.
Hello, Pierre.
Oh,
Welcome,
ma'am.
brother.
Okay, can she?
For being
She's
here.
going to use my phone instead.
Okay.
I don't know if you can hear.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I apologize. My mic is saying it's open, but it wasn't allowing me to speak. Yeah, so thank you, ma'am. I appreciate your heart, and I appreciate everything that you share, and I appreciate your true, genuine love and concern for the people, that you have been sounding the alarm at the expense of your own personal comfort, just so people can get the information they need to correct the record and to set things right so they can move forward. Because when we have these negative marks on our record, any new information or any regular filings or things that we need to do with the IRS, we're going to be held up. And so it's very pertinent that these things get cleared up. And so in my case, I had my 2024 tax filing that has been held up in the amended status since June. And so it said completed when I would log into my portal. And so I needed to call the IRS to inquire as to why I wasn't getting any information, any letter, or what have you, to find out the status. And so, to be clear, my amended return only contained some items that were under the instruction of the different groups and leaders that were instructing us. And at this point, I do just want to agree with ma'am in the fact that we are all adults. We are all in these groups. We are all receiving information. And it is up to us to do our due diligence and research, what have you. But like ma'am stated, when people do present themselves in such a way that you believe they're coming from a place of knowing what they are speaking about, and they share experiences of their own, you begin to trust them. And the more time you spend with them and the more you listen, the more you feel like you're moving in the right direction. And so like ma'am said, it's definitely not to place blame, but whenever you come to the knowledge of something, you share it, because if we all believed one thing before and now we see that there's more to it or there's a correction, aren't we equally going to bring that forward as well to the group and then move in that direction or make the corrections that are needed? And so when I did my amended filing in June, I was not under any different information than I had been receiving since about October last year, which was to submit ESs, Vs. If those were being denied by previous years, I was told to do an OID to recapture them. And so I did 2 OIDs on my filing, as well as using the 1099 miscellaneous to gift and receive gifts. So other people gifted me and I gifted people. And so those are the items that were on that amended return, nothing else, just miscellaneouses, OIDs, and ESs and Vs. That what was on the amended filing. And so that brings me forward to my call with the IRS. I called to inquire about the status, and the individual proceeded to tell me that the reason I saw so many openings and closures on my transcript was because each time my filing reached another agent, they would review it and they weren't able to make a determination or finalize the filing, so they had to close it and move it on to somebody else. I'm seeing all this activity on my transcript 3 or 4 times, and so it looks like my filing is being processed, but it's not. People are looking at it, they're feeling it's suspicious, and they're moving it on. And so as of October the 17th, my filing is in the frivolous and fraudulent filing department and under review. And they said that it could take up to 6 months. So we're looking at April, he said, for a potential wrap-up time for a decision. And so he obviously couldn't tell me what the decision of that department would be. But this all points to what ma'am has been saying, is that we're creating these filings and these documents with, like, out of thin air. We don't have any substantiation of how to explain where they're coming from or how they're supposed to be funded, right? And so now I have legitimate items that I needed to amend my 2024 again to add on, and now my filing is tied up all the way till April because of these documents. So when ma'am talks about correcting the record so that you can get your returns, I can't even touch 2024 for the foreseeable future. And, you know, this is causing harm to me and my family. It's a joint filing. It's my husband and I together. So, you know, it's creating, it has created harm. And like ma'am said, I don't want to point fingers at anybody, but what gets frustrating is when you have person after person that can come forward and say they've been harmed, and yet the people who are teaching it and pushing it to be done aren't saying that. They're continuing to instruct people to do it. They're continuing to say, oh, no, it's okay. We don't know what their situation is. We don't know what other things they might have had going on in their return. Incorrect. My record with the IRS has been clean. We have no tax debt. We have no issues with the IRS, nothing. The only things that were on that filing were these that I mentioned before, the miscellaneous, the OIDs, and the ES and Vs. So those are what are being labeled fraudulent. Now, when I did become aware around September that I should probably not be messing with these things any longer, and I wanted to correct the record, I submitted a corrected filing to the IRS. This agent informed me that that corrected filing has been placed to the side and isn't even going to be considered until they complete their investigation with the filing that has all of these documents on it. And so in the eyes of the IRS right now, while that's being reviewed, they're not seeing my intent to correct the record. So they're making a decision based on what they have in front of them and not even taking into consideration the corrected filing. So we're in this limbo position right now until they determine, and he said they have certain thresholds and different ways that they, make their decisions. But I was trying to explain to him that when I became aware, I tried to correct the record. He went on to tell me that when we fill out our 1040s or our 1040X and we sign our name where it says, I'm signing under penalty of perjury to the best of my knowledge, he said that it is the IRS's understanding that every taxpayer has the ability and equal opportunity to consult with a tax professional that would result in us not having filings that would be put in the fraudulent or frivolous category. So we have to understand that no matter how much we're in these groups and no matter how much certain leaders may, assure us that what we're doing is good and we can correct it and, everything is okay, at the end of the day, we're signing our name on our filings and the IRS is going to hold us. Whatever name and social security number is on that filing, we are the ones that are going to be liable for what we put through. We can't say, oh, we were in a Telegram group and somebody told us, or I was watching a TikTok live and this person assured me, And so if the people who are pushing certain information are not going to take responsibility, it's the call of the lioness in Ma'am and now myself today that we're saying we have to take the responsibility and correct our records. Now, in my case, I did have one form that needed to be reversed because someone else filed it for me. Fortunately, most of the other forms I did. I got caught up in the CP575s too, but I had my own TCC portal and I created all my own 1099As for that. So I was able to go in and cancel all my own. But I did have a couple of things that I had to reach out and get canceled. One is canceled, one has not been canceled because people are not willing, like Ma'am said, to correct things unless it's on their own terms. And right is right and wrong is wrong. And if you know that you have put someone in harm's way and you're not willing to correct it, like Ma'am said, the harm has already been done. There's no form that's going to change what you already did. A whole harmless is not going to retroactive back to what you first did. If anything, if you truly cared and you truly were worried about being held responsible, you would correct the record as soon as possible. And that way your name is cleared, the person's record is cleared, and we can all move forward, which is what we want. We want to see everybody do well. We want to see everyone get their refunds. That's what, at the beginning, this whole thing was about. But somewhere along the way, people got ego, people got power, people got, green in their eyes. Things became classes, things became workshops, things became, a money cow. And so, the message was always preach, don't gatekeep, we're here to share, whatever. But the tune changed over the course of time. And now actions that were done supposedly, in love and concern and in caring are now being ignored. People are being slighted and the harm is still in place. And so the alarm that we are sounding is that, number one, take responsibility for your filings. Don't have anybody file anything for you. If you need a form filed, you file it. That way you don't have any concern that if you need to make a correction, you need to go and beg someone else to do it. Because if they're not willing to do it, now your hands are tied. At some point, that person, the IRS will most likely catch up with them for submitting something and then not taking responsibility. I don't know how that works with the IRS. But if you do it yourself, you only have to worry about correcting it yourself. And two, please do due diligence when you're in these groups. Certain people can become predatory. It may not be their original intent, but sometimes the larger a crowd a person gets, the more they feel the power from other people, that they're a leader and a champion and a pioneer of all kinds of things, their attitude changes. It's no longer, I love and care about the people. It's how much can I charge for that? How much can I, and so when I say predatory, what I mean by that is everything is an opportunity now for themselves, and that's not the way that it is supposed to be. And so I encourage everyone here to just make sure that you take the information you get and read the IRS forms. And I know some people encourage you to read the IRS forms, but let's be honest, the majority of us read these IRS forms and we don't understand what they're saying. And a lot of us have been caught in vulnerable places where we just saw big numbers and got excited. I'll admit the thought of, money that could change the trajectory of my family and our legacy and what have you, it wasn't the driving factor. It really was freedom. But money for a hurting pocket isn't bad either. And so for some people, their financial situation was bad enough that they really hung on every word people said. I've known people that have lost their homes following these processes. People have lost things. These are families. These are real people living life, looking for a way out of the system or a way out of, the slavery of the things that were beyond their control. And as a result, I guess in anxiousness or desperation, proper research wasn't done. And so at this point moving forward, it is the desire that everyone don't just run off and fill things out. Because all I ever heard was, oh, well, try it. Everything can be corrected. If it doesn't work, we'll just fix it. Well, in this case, I have something that I tried to fix and they're not even looking at my correction until they process the first one with all of the quote unquote fraudulent stuff. So was my intent to be fraudulent or frivolous? Absolutely not. I truly believe that what I was putting was something that I could put and the IRS would accept it. And I'm here to tell you that they're not accepting it and they're labeling it as frivolous and fraudulent. And we need to take that seriously because even if it can be corrected, that doesn't make me feel good as a person to be labeled like that when that wasn't my intent. And so that's pretty much, my story with the IRS right now. I am going to try to schedule an in-person visit and see if I can speak to an agent in the office and see if that, could make a difference. But if my filing has been in this department since October, I'm not really thinking I'm able to walk in and someone's just going to say, oh, sure, let me just go pull your file out of that office and we'll take a look at it. A correction has already been submitted with a letter explaining intent. And if they've chosen to put that to the side, I don't really know what my, next step of action is. But I just want everyone to understand that we have the power for the decisions that we make. And going forward, let's all be mindful that we are the ones that are going to be held responsible for what we do. And I don't want to place blame on anybody. My husband and I, we fully accept the fact that we heard certain things and went with it. What grieves me is that the people involved that I was listening to have no conscience and have no problem continuing to put other people in this harm's way. And so until the people who have been harmed and have actually had this happen from the IRS come forward and share their stories, people either may not believe it or think, oh, that was just a one-time situation. No, there's people that are having their filings labeled like this. And it goes beyond just getting a letter in the mail that you can ignore. We're talking 7 figures on this filing. So it's not good in terms of what they're reviewing, So I just want to encourage everyone to be sure that, you are taking into strong consideration the information that you're hearing before you take any steps. And if you cannot explain or defend what you're submitting, then you certainly should not be submitting it. So,
sorry, may I just barge in 1 second?
Yes, sir.
Can you wait write down your question or anything that you would like to address and wait until the end, please? Thank you.
No, it's not an issue. I would just agree with what she was saying. Like the best part that I've heard from her was the instructions part.
Yeah,
You
hold
know?
on one second. Yes, darling, I appreciate you. But right
Yeah.
now, I don't want her chain of thoughts. I don't want her to forget in sharing any information that might be pertinent for you guys just because somebody else is talking. So for anybody, good feedback, support. We love you guys, but I want to keep on going, providing the information that we have. Any feedback, please wait until we're done because there is more to it, guys. So please, I'm sorry, Ruffles. Please accept my apologies. I love you, brother.
You're good. You're good. I respect, time is order. I understand. It just was just that one part with the instructions. All I just wanted to say was just, everybody read the instructions. That's all I wanted to say. See, I got
Well,
results
can you
from it, but I'm gonna
can you
fall
let
back.
me
I'm gonna
finish?
let her speak.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, sir. The only other part that I did want to make sure I reiterate is I know for me, when I would call the IRS in the past, I've always been very defensive on phone calls, issues with bills, this and that. I'm like ready to, fight for mine, right? When I call the IRS, I've learned, take the other approach. Because at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, the IRS has information that we need. And growing up, my mother always taught me you attract more flies with honey than with vinegar. Don't go on the call raging, being upset or whatever. They get enough of that from other people that probably owe taxes and all that kind of stuff. So when I called, I was very pleasant. I was very, happily inquisitive when I called. And so at one point, when he was explaining to me the department where my filing wound up, he was telling me how he's been in the IRS 22 years. And so, I mean, that's a decent amount of time. I'm sure he has seen and experienced some things. And so he shared with me that, the filing could even take up to 2 years. He told me that even explaining the process as he did about it going from agent to agent and different things like that, that, he didn't even have to do that he was already giving me more information, but he thought that I was a reasonable person. And so he was trying his best to help me. Now, when we first started the call, I forgot to mention this. When I first called and said that I was inquiring about the status of my 2024, he took a moment and said, okay, let me review, blah, blah, blah. He gave me kind of like this disclaimer at the beginning, and he said, okay, the information that I'm about to give you, I know you're going to have questions, and probably a lot of them. He said, I'm not going to be able to answer any of those questions. He said, the information I have is the information I'm going to give. He said, you could ask me questions over and over and over again, and I will not be able to answer them. He said, I'm not saying this to be mean or rude or disrespectful. He said, that's just what it is, though. I'm not the department that's reviewing it. I can only give you, information, whatever. And all that to say that by the time we got to the end of the call, he had answered every one of my questions that I had. Some of them were personal to my file, so they're not really relevant to share here. But all that to say is because my demeanor was of a pleasant one, when I called, he was willing to answer. When he gave that disclaimer, he said he probably was not going to answer any questions. Well, he said he wasn't going to answer any questions and that I could ask over and over again. But he said more than once to me that because I seem like a reasonable person. And part of it is because the knowledge that I've gained from my own research and study, and also with the group, a small group that we're studying, my mind was in a different place while I was speaking to him. So I wasn't calling out of a place of fear. And he said, oh, most people can't even sleep at night when they, call the IRS or they find out that their filing has been placed in frivolous or being considered fraudulent, whatever. I said, no, I'm not fearful more than I am just wanting clarification. Because for me, I'm thinking there's other people that are in this position. What information can I learn or get from this IRS agent that I can share so that someone else doesn't have to wind up in this position? And so that was pretty much, and he, I said, so how do I go from here? He said, well, the only way that we'll communicate with you is via letter. So if you get a letter from us asking for something, get us the information. Otherwise, you'll get a letter, giving you the outcome of the investigation. And so that's pretty much where I'm at. So, the highlights to take away from this is I added forms that I could not explain. And now I'm in a position where I have to wait to see what the IRS determines about my filing. Even though I attempted to correct the record, they're not receiving that correction yet until they review what they already had in front of them. And so I don't want anyone to be in that position where you even have to have your filing have such a consideration. So please do your due diligence. You look at your form, you look at what you're about to submit. And when you look at it, ask yourself, okay, if the IRS was to say to me, why are you using that form? Where are those figures coming from? How are we supposed to give you a refund? Like, where is the refund coming from? If you can't answer those, tear them up and put them in the trash. You don't need to send them in. So I know I look through the RECOUPERS groups every now and then, and I notice over and over and over again, people saying, I don't think these ES&Vs work. And I know I've heard ma'am say in a previous call, and I think Stephen as well, is that no one is saying there may not be a proper method to utilize these forms, but not in the way that we're using them, not in the way we were taught to use them. And so nobody is dismissing forms or saying that they don't have a place or a proper process. But when ma'am talked about being fed steak when we should have been, having a baby bottle, we were being given forms to do certain things that are out of our league, as far as I'm concerned. And so, in the future, you may study and find that there's a way for you to utilize these forms, and that's fine. But the way we're submitting them, they have no standing and no basis. And so what I've been working on and what we've been working on is making sure that we are in the proper standing and doing things that we can explain and have proof for. So I just wanted to share that with the group today so that if you are in this position or similar or considering doing filings, we just wanted you to understand what we're going through and what the IRS said about our filing. Yes, ma'am.
Do you mind sharing? I was going to do it, but I think it's your place to share. When I open my Fidelity my Fidelity Trust account, can you please share that with RECOUPERS, with the RECOUPERS family?
Oh, yes, ma'am. I forgot about that. Yes, ma'am. So last year when my husband and I first started getting our non-decedent and our trust, we were following the claim your credits. We established our trust and we opened our trust accounts at Fidelity, both of us. We had separate trusts, separate accounts. Everything was great. I was given a form by a certain individual and was told that I could take this form to my brokerage, my trust account, and I could deposit it. And so I took authority and presented this instrument to Fidelity. And at first they were just like, oh, we don't really know what to do with this. And I said, okay. And I would keep reporting back to the individual what Fidelity was saying. And I was told, oh, they should be able to take it. They're just, everything was always, oh, you're just getting resistance because this is not, normal, or this is not the average thing people are doing. And so I continued to push. And I ended up having a Zoom call with a representative at Fidelity. And I presented the instrument along with some other, documents or whatever. And I was accused of trying to scam Fidelity. And I said, no, this is not a scam. It's a legitimate instrument, And so we had a little back and forth, and I would put together some letters and send them in trying to explain, what I was doing. Well, long story short, they closed my account. And they closed it over the summer. And I had established a new trust that's going to be like a trust under my trust. So it had a new EIN and everything. And I was going to try to open an account at Fidelity with that. And they rejected me. They said I'm blocked because when you're opening an account, you still have to use your name and social security number because you're a trustee or the grantor opening, this account. And so I'm completely barred from Fidelity. And this is all a result of taking an instrument that I was given and told that I could take it to this entity. Again, my responsibility. But this is all just continuing to prove the point about not just doing what people are saying you're able to do. Because I persisted with Fidelity. And not only did my account get closed, they closed my husband's account. And he didn't even try to present anything. He hadn't taken any action. So just being connected to me somehow, I don't know if it's by address or what have you, but now he is barred from Fidelity. I don't know what opportunities or potential future dealings that I could have had with Fidelity, but now I'll never know because I'm completely cut off from them, period. I was able to secure a trust account elsewhere, but it took a lot of legwork to do. I had to get a new trust EIN because the old one had been labeled, and I'm sure there's probably ways to work around that, but I'm not trying to, get a lawyer and go to court and defend all that. No, I just had to start over. But this is all trial and error. This is all a lot of time, energy, and money that is being pulled away from my family in order to correct these things. And so I'm glad you reminded me, ma'am, because that really upset me when that happened because, I'm working on things now that require me to have my trust account. And for the longest, I couldn't even get approved for a trust account elsewhere. And so, that in and itself is creating harm, for me. And so just be careful. Be very careful with these forms. Do not use these forms if you don't know and understand what they are, what they're supposed to accomplish, who's giving them to you, who's instructing you to use them. It's a lot when you get yourself into a position where you now have to correct so many things. Thankfully, I did not put my foot in everything that was being talked about all the time. So I didn't even have as many corrections to make as some folks may have, but it's enough that it has harmed my family and household. And so day by day, week by week, we're correcting the things that need correcting. But when you're in a position where someone else is responsible for correcting something for you that they did, and you're waiting on them, now that's where it becomes even more difficult because you're at the mercy of that person. Well, if I don't feel like it, no, I'm not going to correct it.
Correct.
And now you're stuck with a form on your transcript that at some point you're going to have to be, given account for.
Correct.
And so
thank you so much, Elaine. I greatly appreciate your being vulnerable here, sharing your personal experience. And these are the filings that we need to zero out, guys.
Yes.
That's the whole thing. We just need to zeroing out every filing that it was done on anybody on those DCC portals. And what it's so disturbing is to see the peoples that hold the power on the TCC portals unwillingness to help unless you sign a whole harmless letter. Make it make sense. You already harmed people. You should be running. You should be running and investing the hours and time and energy that you invested to cause all those, to do all those filings to correct the record. I don't understand why it's even an argument on that instance. And all I can say is it's pure ego and the effect that it's going to have in your financial benefit, because you have created a whole different wave of paying members where you are sharing the same information, but because these are new members, they have no clue the mess that you have left behind, and you and the people who are running your schools charging people for this information that is supposed to be free and monetizing it it's gonna feel the effect. Why? Because you have to come clean and say something that your ego will not allow you to say and admit, because it's gonna affect your financial benefit. It's going to affect your ego, the bubble that you have created. And that's what it's taking a toll in my spirit, because I see this wave of people who are paying $1,500 to get help on creating their non-decedent process. Are you kidding me? For those, you know who you are, that have the school up and running and are charging people? Shame on you. Shame on you for charging people information that it was given to you freely, and you haven't been successful because you don't have proof of concept. And if you do, post it. Post it here in Recoupers. Show us that you have been successful on claiming those millions of dollars. Show us your proof of concept. Shame on you for taking advantage of people being in distress, that have been praying for a miracle to help them change their financial hardships, and they saw a lie on what you are presenting, and you're taking advantage of them financially. Shame on you. You know who you are. All of you guys, shame on you, because this information is free and you shouldn't be benefiting, monetizing this information, because all of this information was given to you for free. Shame on you. I wish I can find other words to call you out. I'm keeping your names, but you know who you are. Shame on you. How dare you take advantage of our people, our community, who is seeking for a life, for help, for knowledge, and you see their desperation, and here you are taking advantage and taking their money. Shame on you for using this platform to gather people and take them to the school to teach them something that it was given to you for free. Shame on you. You know who you are. I hope you hear this, and yes, I'm calling you out. I'm calling you out, because this information was shared for free and is for free. And if you saying that you're charging for your time and energy, the way we were going is learn one, teach one. You learn and you teach. You don't benefit, you don't monetize, because we are moving out of the metrics. We're moving out of a place where we have been taking advantage. But no, you brought in the same energy, and you're doing that here, taking people from the groups where the information is free, instead of telling them go and find that information, or just tell them I don't know. But no, you saw the opportunity to monetize it. And I'm telling you, I'm calling you out. And I'm telling you right now, for those people who are paying, all that information is free. And once I get the proof of concept of what I'm doing, that information is going to be shared here. You guys just need to know. You guys need to understand. If you don't have proof of concept, you have no business taking money from people to teach them something that you don't know. Because it's not until you go through the process yourself that you can attest to what you are doing. You cannot take somebody else's win and think that it's going to work for you, because in this process, everybody's circumstances are different. My process cannot be the same as yours. And the fact that something that was released for free, the claim your credits process is free, how to get an EIN number is free, how to get a CAP number is free. The fact that you are monetizing, that is going to come back to you and haunt you and bite you on the ass. And I'm telling you that not as a rhetorical statement, but because the universe will come back to you 10 times, because there are universal laws that we cannot go against. There are universal laws that we cannot go against. And now I'm telling you, you go and do you. But don't forget that if you are sharing information that has been sharing these platforms for free for you and everyone else, you have no business taking this information and charge people. You have no knowledge. You were in my DMs asking me how to do some process and how to fill out forms. Shame on you. You know who you are. And you went and took that information and created a paying platform. Shame on you. Shame on you. Disgrace to the community. But anyways, so bottom line here is we need to correct the record. I hope the people that has control over the TCC platforms understand that there is no need to create a harmless EIN generated letter. The harm has already been created, and if your brain cannot understand that, you help, because it tells me the level of ignorance that you are moving on with. The simple fact that the harm has already been created, you are being presented with a way of correcting the record. I reached out to all of you back in September, and now you want a whole harmless letter in order for the record to be corrected. That tells me that you it's a laughable event, guys. Because at this point, no whole harmless letter can protect you for what you did unless you correct the record. And nobody wants to hold you accountable. We hold ourselves accountable for what we did. It's that simple. Correct the record. Thank you, Stephen. I'm going to be right here, allowing people who has questions or any feedback. I'm going to be here. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And to just reiterate this once again, use your discernment. If you don't have any, go find it quick. But if something that you read here doesn't just pull you towards it, discernment is telling you it's not for you. Not because like you can't benefit from it, but it's not the step that you need to take now. Right? That's what discernment's about. Your base instinct. It can tell you what will serve you and what is dangerous. The dangerous things say, stay away from that. And you don't know why, but that's your discernment. So like, ma'am and I, we've been in multiple groups, so I know exactly what she's talking about. My discernment told me, don't go explore certain paths. It's not for you. Not that it doesn't work. It's not for me. So I never explored those paths in a genuine attempt to use them. Just from my knowledge, because people have questions. But my discernment kept me from doing a lot of things. A lot of things in my life, not just in Recoupers. A lot of things. So discernment is a very important tool, and maybe you just need more information to utilize something that is in these groups. And maybe you get to the point after you gain knowledge, you don't need that thing that you thought you wanted to use, because now you have a knowledge base and you've grown past it. So it's a process, right? We all don't like exactly where we are, which is why we're always trying to be something better. And we have to use our discernment to get there safely. So, all that being said, what questions does someone have? Who wishes to speak about it?
Yeah, I want two questions. Well, how
Okay,
should I zero out the 1099 AA, the lady who filed the CP175 for me. I have she did it on her account. I have a tax 1099 account. Should I zero out, do a 1099A? No.
No, hold on.
Okay.
You know what? I'm gonna talk to Steven after the Recoupers live and see how we can help the community, because see, the what I was told is that it has to come from the platform that it was created. Now, if the platform is has been locked and they're using that as an excuse, it's not an excuse. They can zero it out in any other platform, but it has to come from the source that created. Okay, whoever did the filing, they're the ones that have to zero it out, because see, you did not create it. You gave the information, right? It was your
Yeah.
information. You were part. We were all part of it, right? But we did not did it, right? So that entity, that individual that created, even if you pay them, okay, because I offered to pay for them to go to a paid
It's for
platform.
it was for free. Yeah.
$5. It's $5. I offered to pay, and it was declined. So we're gonna work on something where people is gonna feel comfortable that they don't have to come across the resistance that we have been receiving in order for this to get done, because it needs to get done. There is no, this is not a negotiable. We're not standing in negotiable grounds right now. You know, you need to zero it out the best way possible, and that is that. You know, and it's, we're not putting the blame on anybody at all. You know, the only thing that is very disturbing is to get the resistance to get something that needs to be done to correct the record. So I'm gonna talk to Steven. I'm gonna take your name right now.
Yeah. I will send you a PM also.
Yeah, we might
Again.
create some type of topic in Recoupers for those who want to zero out any forms. And you know, so we can create a list where people is not going to find any resistance, or demand them to sign any I'm sorry, guys. My heart is pounding so fast right now, because this has been since September. It has been very challenging. So it has taken a lot for me to be here addressing this issue, because it's just getting out of hand. The power trip that I have been facing is beyond my comprehension for something that is just need to be corrected. You know, people needs to know, this needs to be, because see, the filing is not going to be removed from the right. But at least you're doing the right thing by correcting the record. And if you get outed, if you know, when you go through your process like Elaine, you have something to say, well, it was done, but we corrected the record, and here it is. And they can just generate a letter, you know, a simple letter. An error was mistake was created. However, they can word it, but it has to sound it cannot sound AI generated, guy. Please, you know,
Yeah.
it has to be something that a person, a living woman, a living man created this, and it's, you know, it needs, the letter has to say, well, there was an error, a mistake, and we canceling, we zeroing out. You know, I cannot even think right now, but that has to be created, and it has to be issued with each and every person who requests to zero out their CP575, or I don't know how to cancel the ESSMBs, guys, but that needs to be corrected as well, because I'm saying this, that needs to be corrected. So sister, I will talk to Steven about it, and I'm pretty sure he will agree on creating something for this specific reason. Steve, are you with me on that?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So maybe we can create a topic in Recoupers, and people can just go there, you know. We can and if you want privacy, we can even talk about it, because I know you don't want to be targeted. You know, you don't want to be targeted, because I have been targeted. And we want to make sure that everybody feels safe That's the most important thing. That's why we're doing this. We want people to feel safe in these processes. And thank you, Stephen, for bringing up the discernment part. It's so important. It's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we can discuss after we finish. I want to have a smoke break afterwards, but we can discuss after that.
Oh, I'm gonna need a smoke break, big time.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah. Thank you for bringing that question up, Nils. All right. Who else has a question that they wish to vocalize?
Hello? Oh, go ahead. Hello?
Oh, go ahead. It's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Hi. I'm sorry, I just joined and I'm kind of in a gazillion groups trying to figure things out. So thank you for that clarification because I had no clue what would happen in backstage. Anyway, what are we zeroing out? I'm sorry, because we're zeroing out.
No, it's okay.
Oh.
No. So it's in the case that an individual has followed guidance without doing proper due diligence.
Mhm.
Everything ultimately rests onto the individual to make the actions for their own life, right?
Yeah.
So should
Yeah.
it have occurred that advice was followed where inappropriate forms declaring anything or misrepresentation, what could be interpreted potentially by the IRS, in such a case, the appropriate thing to do is to correct the record.
Mm-hmm.
And in the case of 1099s, the way to correct those records are to amend them, correct them, zero them out.
Okay,
Because nothing submitted one time is removed. It will always be on the form or always be on the record, right? The only thing that can be done to address an inaccuracy is to submit a correction. That's what we were talking about.
And we're talking about the CP5 people who claimed credits with the CP575 and the 1099 ABB. Is that what we're talking about?
ABB hasn't been discussed, but specifically earlier, you'll need to listen back to the recording when it's finished. There was someone who gave their testimony about a situation that they are in with the IRS related to those forms.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, it's in-depth testimony. So it's definitely worth listening to for anyone who wants to know about things that can happen with the IRS. Right? So that's why it's doing your own research. And this isn't just like you make an opinion out of thin air on something. No, it's gain knowledge and wisdom so that you're at an adequate level to make a prudent decision for your life. Right?
Thank
So,
you.
absolutely. And none of that explanation was in plain English for a very good reason.
Yes.
Right? So if you didn't understand if anyone who listens to this did not understand anything that I just said, you don't have the level of knowledge that you need to have. And you have further reading that you need to do. Right?
The IRS manual, the IRM, is a good way to start.
Right. Yep. So,
but I want to add something. How I also talked to the IRS many times. 90% of the time, I talk with honor and respect, and they treat me as honor and respect back. So, out of 10 calls, I talked to only 2 who was a little bit grumpy. So I said, okay, then I hang up, and call back. And if I'm friendly, they are really friendly. So I never, yeah. Right.
Yeah. I mean, because there are some people who are just unhappy with life, so they take it out on others. 100%, they're everywhere. Right. And a lot of the ones who are very amicable in their communication style, much like I am, like, please no one be disillusioned by how I interact with people to think that I am not vicious. Right. I have had multiple people fired under the auspices of they've committed fraud against the government. Right. And I call people out on the call with a CEO on the line. I do not care. Right. This is all a reflection of who we deal with. Right. So if you come with respect and honor, you'll get it. If you don't, you'll get hung. Because that's just the way life is. You
Mhm.
get what you put out. If you come out with nefarious deeds, you're going to get nefarious actions. Right? And that's just how karma rolls. So I'm all about being love and light when love and light is what I see. And I have an extreme level of discernment that is extended out through any space. So I can understand a person's character merely if they stand in silence or sit quietly and I do not see them physically.
Mhm.
Right? So that's when I say use your discernment, because you need to develop a sixth sense about life, because everything is not what we can see, touch, taste, and hear. Right? It extends beyond into realms we cannot imagine.
I want
So-
to add to that. I just want to say something that I think is so important. I want everyone here to know that the reason why I'm here addressing the issue, and sometimes my tone of voice gets, I addressed this issue back in September, the first week of September, when I first had my encounter with the IRS. Okay. I wanted to bring this information to the sources. In no way I blame anybody. I have been saying repeatedly every time I address the issue that I'm not putting the blame on anybody. I hold myself accountable for my doings. It's my responsibility, right? The issue happened when the situation wasn't given the importance, the time and energy that it was required to address it, not only for my personal experience at that time, but for those who were in the same realm, with their process stalled, stuck with the IRS, not seeing the refunds. And that's how brought me here. I'm nobody's enemy. I love everyone and I want everybody to win. And like I said before, I don't think anybody took up on this journey thinking, oh, I'm going to harm people. I'm going to do this on purpose. Okay. Adrenaline took up on a lot of people. Ego, power trip. I don't know what you want to call it. I love everyone and I want everyone to win. And just because I'm calling this out here, that doesn't make me your enemy. Communication is key. Putting our emotions aside to address the issue and do things right is a key factor for those who succeed in any area of our lives, financially, business wise, in our families, relationships, most relationships. And because people were not mature enough to put their emotions and their egos aside and put themselves in the other individual's shoes and see from the other individual's perspective and validating what they were going through and how they were affected by what was happening. And that's all I'm doing right now. I'm not here to harm anybody or for any, I don't want nobody to go after nobody. We are correcting the record. We are doing things right so the energy can go back to when all this has started and everybody can move forward with their process the proper way. Thank you, Stephen. I also want to thank the group that have gathered. I am surrounded by badasses, people who are working. I have said this very diligently. Are investing their time, their money, and energy to make sure that we get past this And we can look back and see what we learned from it. Some of us are going to be a little bit more humble, you know. Some of us financial situation is going to take a shift that we never, that is not going to be in the billions, but it's going to be enough for you to live a decent life, and you're going to get educated in a way that you will understand what you are doing and where your credits are coming from. And then people can, because this can be it's an administrative process that can be, you can apply your knowledge and it's a career. It's a career, guys. But you have to know what you are doing, and you have to have the foundation to be able to teach this, to share this at the level that is required. You know, um, I don't want to name everybody here in the group who is working, um, that we are working together. I'm never going to say they're working with me, because we. It's not me and them, it's we. Um, I want every one of you to know that I appreciate you. I value your time, energy, effort, everything that you do, guys, for your support, moral, emotional. Um, and we got this. We're gonna do things right, and I just want those in control of the TCC portals to know that I just want to correct the record so you can be in good standings the same way people deserve to be in good standings, so they can get past this and get their refunds. It's that simple. There is no need to debate. There is no need to argue. There is no need to put negative energy in something that is going to do good to the people. It's that simple. Shift that energy. Shift that mindset that you have. Ego is never a good energy to carry when masses are depending on your decision. We have seen it time and time.
Yep.
How do we get the proper education? Because there are so many
Read.
things, and so many people are saying so many different things.
Okay, so I'm going to speak for myself.
Read.
Right now, like I addressed earlier, we are working on a process, and the source is the source. You cannot go higher than where we are on the standings, but we're not ready to share anything until we have a structure and proof of concept. But that is just one way, you know. That is just one way that we're gonna attest, and we're gonna make it available for those that wants to do it. But that is just one way. I can never say, well, that doesn't work. That no, because there is so many ways of people to claim their credits, to get remedy, to recoup. The only thing that we are asking is that if you're going to do something, make sure that they have proof of concept and that you understand what you are doing, and that you do things from your own portal with your own tools, not somebody else's. Because when things go south, you are left the way I was left, unable to correct the record. And the way a lot of people have been left, it's not just me, guys. I'm the one that had the courage to come over here and brought it up to Stephen's attention and reach out for help, because it's sad to see that just because somebody holds the power of correcting the record, they refuse to do it. That is sad, guys. That is a very sad move. Um, so I cannot attest for any other process, and I cannot share what process it is that we are doing until we get proof of concept. We already have two that are at 95% completion. And it's amazing. That's the reason why we are so happy, and that's the reason why we are keeping going. We're keeping keep on going. We're working on it. And like I said, when we are ready, I'm going to reach out to Steven to see how we're going to go about it. But for now, I'm not answering to anybody on my DMs. I'm not sharing anything because it's not my place. Until I personally get proof of concept, I cannot share anything. You have free will in these processes, you have free will in these processes. And that is the beauty of it. And sometimes it backfire on us because we let the emotions take over, and that's what happened to us. And that's the reason why I want to make sure I clear this. I can never clear this enough. I do not hold anyone accountable for what I did in any way, type, or form. But everything shifted when I was harmed. I brought it to your attention and I was ignored. And 3 months later, almost 4 months later, nothing has been done. I have been attacked. I have been gaslight. I have been ignored. And it's not right. And it's not just me, guys. That's the whole thing. I came to find out there is a lot of people out there that is in the same situation. They have been canceled. They have been removed from lives. They have been blocked for reaching out. And what do you do in situations like that? When you don't have a voice, where you just another handle in Recoupers or in and you just remove from all the groups that you were part of just because you say something that they didn't want to hear. You were removed, you're canceled, you're out. That's that. What do you do? There is nothing you can do. But see, when I saw, me myself, I'm handling my situation. Because like I said, I have been an advocate for 16 years. And for those that don't know, I am part of an association. Actually, let me correct the record. I was part of an association that has 20 plus members who are doing home equity reconversion. And I followed the whole process of that. We went through the county clerk, HUD, IRS, Treasury Department, the Fiscal Bureau. So my background, I have a background. Okay. But at this point, when I came to realize is that it wasn't just me. There is a lot of people out there. I don't want to put a number on it. So that's why I decided to come to Recoupers and create a subject in the matter so I can bring it to their attention to see how the community will, come out and I want them to know that it's okay. If you have a reality that doesn't match a reality that is being promoted, you need to bring it up to the attention of the community so the record can be corrected so things can go back to normal. But you cannot just keep on going, leaving wounded people behind and created a new way of members, knowingly that there is people that is reaching out to you from a year, 8 months, 6 months ago, and you're not doing anything about it.
Okay, can I add?
Sure.
Right. So when it comes to correcting these records, first off, before I even get into there, everybody needs to learn that we got to start reading the instructions. We can't blame or fault anybody for any errors that we didn't try first or went to somebody that was licensed like a CPA, right? So when it comes to correcting the 1099, I don't care which one it is. They have a box on the top that says corrected. So that's how you correct that. And for 1040s, you do not correct them, you amend it. So that amendment is through the 1040X. That's how you do it. And you don't have to write no letter of intent or any of that, but if you want to, you could. So that's the way you correct the record. All right. And then when you guys do that, know exactly what you're claiming. And if you're claiming against a company, make sure you put audit because nobody really know how much they taking in and taking it out and stuff like that, because they're creating embezzlement, you know. But anyways, I just wanted to say that part. All right, you guys want to correct the 1099s, or just press the top button up there on the forums, correct it. The 1040s is 1040X for amendments. Okay.
Thank you. So we got a few minutes left. Who else has a question?
I don't have a
Yeah.
question. I have an information.
Okay.
Because that lady was asking where she could learn. You can learn here. You can learn on. Eon knows a lot, but he's a bit difficult to follow. But he knows a lot. And also, in case you guys didn't know, I don't know if I can say this here or not. Can I talk about Eon? Do you know who he is?
Yes, he's been a topic. Many people have posted about him.
Oh, okay. Okay, because he has solid information, and he has created. He is for the helping the people, from what I gather and from what I feel of him. And he has groups where he has companies that do the taxes for you. For those people who are finding it very hard to understand, you can buy like a trust from him, and his company is the trustee. I haven't done it yet, so I can't. Don't go by me, because I've paid too many people to do too many stuff that didn't work, but I feel he's the right deal, and he has companies he works with to help the people.
That's exactly the point. If you haven't do it respectfully, sis, if you haven't done it, that's exactly the big issue that we have, respectfully and with love. Okay. I'm just going to use you as an example. And we followed Eon. Yeah. But see, the thing about it is, in order for you to refer somebody, okay, to a specific, but see, I haven't done any process with him. But see, I cannot refer anybody to him because I personally haven't done anything. And that has been the big issue here, that we have been promoting people, okay, that without us having our own proof of concepts to promote these people.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just, the lady asked where she could get information. So he has videos for people to learn, so free as well. So that's just something. And when I do try out with him, I'll let you guys know. Okay. Okay. Thanks. I follow a lot of groups, and it's very sad that they're all getting divided, because I find value in all of the groups, and I've been with you guys since the beginning, because I'm from another, like Niels, where it's even more difficult for us because from another country, right? So I've been following everybody, and everybody's been creating. I understand everybody goes through a very profound process when it comes to money, because you're healing generational and millennial traumas, right? So you're healing bloodlines. So a lot of stuff comes up, and I understand it, and so we can all purify it. But I do believe we are all united in love, and we will all meet again in love when everybody's gone through their processes. So just wanted to let you all know. Thank you.
I love it. I love what you say, because this is what exactly we have been saying. Try to get past this and try to see beyond that darkness and see the light. Once we come together, correct the record together in harmony, we are breaking chains. It's beyond. This is a spiritual warfare, people.
And it's a new earth. We're creating a new earth, but we have to start with ourselves.
Exactly. Thank you, sis. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for all your help and for the platform and for the space. But I think we have to focus on what unites us and not on what divides us, because of that, otherwise we'll just be feeding the matrix what it likes most, which is division.
Exactly. And that's what is happening right now. And we need to get past this. That's the reason why we're here. And I hope our brothers and sisters that feel that this is an attack on their, from our part to theirs. No, it's not. We need to combine the energy the same way we did it at the beginning and get past this as a whole, correct the record, and rejoice that we conquer this challenge, because it's a challenge.
Yeah.
We're being challenged. So we have to. Thank you, sis.
The rivers, they never fail to meet the sea. So they might go in their own directions sometimes, but we all will meet at the sea.
So.
And truly, I don't share too much about it in this group because this group has a very particular focus on it. But your addition to where to find information, it's laying around everywhere, right? and it's about perspective and how you, all of us collectively, how you perceive dictates what you learn.
Mm-hmm.
So, and great example would be you see someone who's evil, does bad deeds, horrible person. It could be a shitty person, shitty boss, shitty mailman, shitty grocery worker, shitty barista. Doesn't matter. They are a great example for learning because they're going to teach you what not to be. And once you eliminate everything that you should not be, the only thing that is left is what you will be. So no matter what kind of trauma we all go through, those are things that will knock off what we will not be and will only reveal what we are. So it's a weird way to go about learning. But if you go around collecting trauma, the only thing that'll be left is what you are.
Yeah.
So don't just seek out information from one source. Figure out which sources you don't want to learn from and learn from everything else.
And people will be called to the one that resonates with them anyway.
Exactly. And that's just your discernment, just revealing itself.
Mm-hmm.
But it's perception. Broaden your perceptions and you will broaden your knowledge. It will occur. You cannot help it. But you can't walk around with blinders. Like, see the evils of the world and you will see knowledge. It might traumatize you, but you will see the thing that you are seeking. So be very careful with the things that you're actually honest to yourself about, what you really, really want, because you may not like the path to get there.
Yeah, I want to say supplement Stephen or Delcia also. The group I follow, or the man I follow, I should say, Joe Dutica, he's follow the law, the agents in different offices have to follow. So yeah, what I'm doing now for past months, I'm calling the offices here in Norway. And I say, how can I report this debt collect? Yeah, just reporting. So after, I don't know, last half a year, I get my own lady at that reporting office. So it's like, hello again, good summer and good spring. It's like we having like a coffee talk, shit talk in that reporting office. You again? Okay, yeah. I have your filing. I will look at it. It's like a no-brainer. It's like it's not supposed to happen. Yeah, but I will not let you. I will not let you know how it goes. But sure, I will look at it. It's like, just give me more if you want. It's up to you. So there is agency always above another agency to report of their wrongdoing. So it's every country is made up in that. So you just use their system against them. That is my proven success for the last years. So.
Yeah, and you're not wrong about that. Using the system against them, right? I mean, to word this in a more positive aspect, if you play by the rules, you win, right? They created the rules. They created these convoluted systems. They created these multiple layers where one agency has checks and balances over another agency. And some of these agencies are multinational agencies. But you have to play by their rules and you win. Just have to know the rules, which involves a lot of reading. A lot of reading.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I will give one opportunity for a question before we close this out.
I have a question.
Shoot.
I'm just curious. It's been I come on here sporadically, but I do listen to the replays. But a few months ago, 903 had said something about he was learning how to operate in equity. And he said he was going to come back and teach us how to do that. I haven't seen or heard of him lately. Is he still part of this group?
Yeah, he's the owner. This is his group. Yeah, he's still around. He does pop in. He does do admin stuff. He doesn't post terribly much because he is busy in real life doing things. Like he always has been, right? So anytime that he would show up, it's like one of those, oh my gosh, he's free type events. So he's still around. He still posts. He does stuff on TikTok still. So
But he
I mean,
hasn't
I follow.
elaborated anything further about the whole living in equity stuff, because he posted that live on TikTok like a few months back, and it's been like, I want to say since October, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot, right? Because perspective, the living in equity and the navigating in the private is a process that the elites train their children from age 3 so that by age 15, they've mastered it. And by 18, they are productive and have made millions of dollars. So you're talking about 12 years worth of knowledge being crammed into months worth of time, right? It's not just reading. It's navigating interpersonal relationships, interagency relationships, being of benefit to others while taking a back seat on certain things so that you can make a certain advancement in another particular field to gain leverage over something else. It's not just a simple checkers game. It's like 5-dimensional chess because it's aristocratic. It's been happening for thousands or more years. So it's a very well-defined process. It takes a lot of time to get it and live it. And he's going to teach others about it. So I imagine it will take time, a significant portion of time, a lot longer than we think it should take, but it will not be enough even when we get it because we just haven't had the time to be taught by people who have mastered it already, right? I mean, it's no different than, an Olympian coming up to your house and saying, congratulations, I'm going to teach you to be the next gold medal winner at the next Winter Olympics, which should be about 2 years from now. And you're like, but I've got no training on any of this stuff. Like, too bad.
Yeah,
So
no,
it's-
but he made it sound like it was a lot easier than all the stuff we were trying to do and getting nothing to come to fruition. And that's why I was like, wow, it's been a few months now and he hasn't said anything. So I was just curious. I'm still trying to learn on my own, but I just thought that it was supposed to be simpler, but maybe I guess not.
No, I mean, you also have to consider Jeremy's the one that said it. So he's been on a mission for a long time and they've come after his life several times. So he has a level of dedication that many of us probably don't have because it is life and death for him. So he has a completely different sense of dedication to learning it than we do. So he may be able to digest the information that he needs in order to make it work. But we may take much longer than that once he brings it back. So give him grace. He's attempting to do something magnificent. So
I hadn't seen or heard from him lately, so I thought maybe he kind of just disappeared because he had to. That's the only reason I was asking. It's not that I wasn't giving him grace. I just thought maybe he had to sign an NDA or just had to bow out.
well, I mean, if he does sign an NDA, we won't ever know about it. Possibly. So, and I imagine his socials would completely disappear. I would not be surprised if this group disappeared instantly either. So always mentally prepare yourself for the worst outcome. That way, when it does show up, you have confirmation that the things that you are pursuing are worth it.